All right. It is January, which means it was just Christmas, and it means that a lot of people got appliances. A lot of flat TV screens, microwaves, stuff like that. And that meant that the next trash day, people were throwing out boxes of packing material that were pretty obvious from the street. Now, I'm an Uber driver, so I was driving around at night picking up drunken kids and taking them home so they wouldn't die. And I would notice these people that put out their trash, and I would notice these appliance boxes. So after I dropped the kids off, I would zip around back where I saw the trash, and I would steal their trash and bring it home and dig through it and get these pieces of packing material. And this was from 2 runs, and I like this stuff. Now, I started using this when I was making figures that needed big headdresses, and those pieces were a combination of broken surfaces and smooth machined surfaces, and I like that, and that worked nicely. But slowly over the last few pieces, I've been using these. I've been finding myself, this is important, I've been finding myself using these more as architectural elements on the background of the surface on which the figures are built, because that's what I'm doing pretty much. I'm building figures that are attached to a surface, and there's a good defense of that, which I'm not going to get into now. But I think a sort of extremely high relief may be the best solution to sculpture, period. And by extremely high relief, basically I mean a freestanding figure that's just stuck to a wall, a board on a wall, some kind of a surface, and that surface can have texture and sculptural meaning too. Anyway, I had all this stuff. I had made a wooden frame here. This is just 2 by 2. This is 2-inch thick insulation board, as you can see. And I used liquid nails, and I glued this stuff down. Now, here's something else. I got out all my found packing material and quickly and sloppily laid it out just to see how well it would fit. And then when I stepped back and looked at it, I realized that initial composition, which wasn't even really intentionally that much of a composition, was really good. And while I could move the pieces around and see if I could find a better arrangement, I wasn't gonna. And my point is, often when you're not taking something seriously, it's when you do your best work. I wasn't taking this composition seriously. I just wanted to see if all the pieces would fit in a 4 by 8 rectangle. And because I wasn't paying that close attention to questions about composition, the composition took care of itself. Now, I could have gone through 20 or 30 arrangements of this stuff to see which one I like best, and I know for a fact I would have come back to the original one that I threw together unconsciously. So, if you're an artist, take that to the bank. What happens next here is, well, first of all, this is going to be a standing piece. It's going to be against the wall. I'm going to put plaster on it, but that's going to be a heavy thing. Now, my son just told me about a material called structolite, and I'll put a little thing up here. What it is plaster with perlite mixed into the plaster so that the plaster is extremely light, and it's usually used as a first coat on a wall so you get some insulation. Especially if you can't otherwise insulate. I don't know. I've never used it. But it's plaster with this powder mixed in, and so a block of what would be heavy plaster will be very lightweight. Now, I don't know what the percent, I don't know if it's half the weight or a quarter of the weight. Never touched the stuff, don't even have any of it here. I'm going to go buy some tomorrow. But what I need is a material that's very strong, very lightweight, and can be applied relatively in a relatively thin application, because a lot of these details of all of this packing material are cool and I want to preserve them. I don't want to just blast them over with a big glob of plaster. I want it to contour as much as I can to what I've already got here. Now, all the blue that you see, that's just, I think, right now my thinking is that's just going to be a textured surface like all the other textured surfaces that back up all my other sculptures. I may add little shapes in here, I may not, I don't know. And then I'm going to take I'm going to make a figure, probably somewhat smaller than life, maybe 3/4, and stick it on here. So this is merely going to be the background for a sculpture. And to experiment with that, hang on. I took this piece, which has been around in different incarnations, and just to kind of, where's my head here? Just to kind of see what a figure against this kind of a background will look like, and particularly what a figure done the way I do, which is, let's face it, kind of sloppy, will look like against a fairly geometric background like this. And also keeping in mind that this fairly geometric background is going to be globbed over with plaster. So while the figure that I make for this isn't going to be this loose, it's not going to be this sloppy, if that's the word you like. It's going to be tighter. It's going to be bigger too, I think. This is about half size. Maybe a little bit bigger, so it takes up more of the space. But not so much that it obliterates all of this detail underneath. That's the plan. This is the experiment. This is not the figure that will go here. I do kind of like it. I think it's interesting. And tomorrow I start texturing the background and building an armature for whatever figure is going to go on top of here. And I have no idea what either of those things are going to look like or what they're going to look like put together. And I'm as happy as I can be. Thank you for your time. Okay.